Hey guys, so here bringing you another video. Welcome back to Viewer Spectate. So it's kind of our coaching series that we do here on the channel. We are watching Crowfoot, and the good thing, I'm live streaming at the moment and he is in chat, so if I ever have questions for him, I hope that obviously he'll be able to answer them as we go. We're playing VEX this game, and in their match history they actually had quite a few good VEX games. This one stood out to me because, you know, little spoiler, they do quite well, and I want to see how they do well. And, you know, is there anything that they could even improve on more? So it's worth knowing. Electrocute, which is fine. Electrocute, Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, Ultimate Hunter. Then Futures Market, okay. Cosmic Insight, and then Attack Speed, Ability Power, and Armor. It all seems fine. Futures Market, I'll say this rune has grown on me personally as well. I typically am buying it on champions that are very item-centric. So, like, a lot of assassins and stuff like that. Because it's the difference of when you're first basing and like you can just get that first component, and it's a big deal to do that. So the enemy team is pretty much full AD. We're against a Yone in mid lane. So Vex does obviously have some innate counter to Yone. Because obviously Yone's third Q would be technically a dash, which would proc Vex's passive. As well as obviously his ultimate will do that as well. So like there's some nice things for Vex. Against this matchup. Also worth knowing, Vex at the moment, if you actually think about it, in current meta, is actually quite good. The meta at the moment in mid lane is a lot of static shiv, high mobility champions. So like, Cogs DC'd. So like, obviously LeBlanc is the primary #1 thing. Vex is good against LeBlanc because every time she uses W, oh, and also E, yeah, technically E would counter Yone as well. But every time LeBlanc's Wing and stuff, it would give Vex's passive. For those that don't know what her passive is, so her passive, which is called Doom and Gloom, it's the fear, but the thing that we're kind of focusing on when it comes to mobility is whenever a nearby enemy dashes or blinks, you can see that little crown kind of thing appeared on Yone. Vex marks them with Gloom for 6 seconds. And then Vex's next attack against a gloomed enemy deals additional damage and reduces the ability's this ability's cooldown by 25%. So in essence, every time that they're using mobility, you auto attack them. You're doing a bit of extra damage, and because if they keep dashing and keep doing that, they're making it happen more. So yeah, really nice counter there with going for the ignite. Yone's committing to the play, which is a bit peculiar, and you get the kill, which is really good. But yeah, the fear. You got the extra damage because he's doing dashes. Really nice play, nice confidence to go for the kill, and it worked out really well. So that's good to see. So obviously, Warwick did show his face very quickly to see if he's going to gank, and he decides against it, and he has decided to invade a Rammus, which I'll say is brave. So Vex is on her way to try and help. Rammus is just going to try and run away, and now Warwick is completely caught. What elo are we in, Crowfoot? What rating bracket are we in? And also getting a nice kill with blue buff. I do think, Weber, there's a chance, by the way, with how auto animations work. Bronze 2, there you go. Before the flash actually happened, I think there was maybe a split moment that Vex Crowfoot could have actually got the auto attack off before, without flashing, and you would have got the kill. That would have obviously taken really quick reaction time to do it, but I do think there was a window to do that. And it is also worth knowing, you know, trying to save your summoners is never a bad thing, but it's also not a bad thing to get the kill. You got the enemy jungler, he's dead. You know, no, what is going on here? The enemy jungler's dead, and you get blue buff in the early game, so it's really nice. So, yes, Twitch chat is saying, like, should of Crowfoot based by now? Yes and no. So I've always been an advocate, apart from when I'm jungling, I'm a massive goblin. But I've always been an advocate, if you're winning lane, make sure you are going back to use your gold, especially in the early game, because, you know, it's your massive item advantage. I can see why Crowfoot hasn't, though. So Crowfoot in chat said because he had blue, he wants to push the wave. I'm completely fine with him staying, massively because, not even to do with blue buff, it's to do with the Yone. So the Yone right now is sitting at less than half health. You're sitting over half health with also full mana. You actually, even without basing, you still have the lane advantage. So it's actually like if Yone chose to engage on you right now, you would just flat out kill him. And I think Crowfoot knows this as well, so you're in a strength position. So I'm actually completely fine with Crowfoot staying there. I think that's actually a good thing. The only negative in that situation would have been if Warwick chose to try and come mid and kill you. Potentially, again, could look even for a kill on this Yone. He is not wanting to go back. He will be level 6 soon. Warwick is now potentially coming mid for his second or even third attempt. And obviously, it's not really worked so far. He's only level 4. Vex is level 6. I wouldn't... I would have tried to bait that a bit more. Walking straight into the bush kind of just calls off the gank. But I would have potentially kind of hovered here just for a second or two. Ooh, unlucky. I like the idea, though. And Warwick is back in mid lane. So this is where now you're overdoing it. The moment that you missed your ultimate, back away. Warwick has shown that he wants to be mid lane quite a lot. You missed the ultimate, and in that situation, leave. You know, where before staying, I think was the completely right call. Even going for the ultimate, I think was an okay call. If he hit it, he was probably going to die. The moment that you then miss the ulti, call it off. You know, that's the thing. You need to know when enough is enough in a certain play. So that is, it's a basic mistake. You know, it's an easy fix. You know, especially when it comes to Vex. I'd say in most situations of Vex in lane phase, and obviously later is different, but in lane phase, your ultimate is so pivotal in the 1v1 kills. If you miss that, most of the time, I would just disengage from the play. Especially if, you know, it's different if you're in like a very close 1v1 and you miss the ultimate because you're still in the fight. If you're going for a long distance ulti and you just miss it, I would just say the play is over. Don't then continue going in. So Yone misses his ulti. You take minimal damage, which is not bad. There is a big situation happening around Dragon, so I would like you to be pushing this and actually going over there right now. And so far, there's not been too much movement of you going there. But they're doing an okay situation, but it's still both mid laners not seeing what's going on in this fight. Rammus is actually pretty much caught in the pit. It would be actually really good if you end up with this dragon, though. I'd be so shocked if you do. Oh my god, he gets in and then flashes out. Yeah, let's go. Wow, the enemy team ignored the dragon. That's quite funny. You can see the Warwick spam pinging, by the way, of like, the dragon, please, the dragon. And then the Aatrox is spam pinging the Warwick. What? I don't know. That was quite funny. So again, I will say, I do think there was a world that you could have moved over to that fight. You know, it would have been worse if Yone chose to go there and you didn't. God, this Warwick is insane. Vex ultimate into the fear, and now Warwick is going to die. Yeah, this Warwick is... I don't know what he's doing. Nice free kill for you. Again, always maximize free kills, and you get red buff, and that gives you nice health regen. So this is working pretty good. You hit your ulti, and I think that is a fine thing to do. I wouldn't go for a crazy all-in, though, so that's the thing. I'd hit your ulti, I wouldn't have gone for the play. The moment you went for the play, you are at the time you're at a health deficit. I wouldn't have gone for that play. So you did just have to use flash. But now, if you notice, with poking him down, you're now at a health advantage, and now you can look to be aggressive again. So that's the only thing I would say is just because you hit your ultimate doesn't mean you need to go in on it. But yeah, just focus as much as you can on poke. I'd always keep in your mind as well that this Warwick's playstyle is crazy. He's 0-3, but he's playing like he's insanely fed. He's been mid lane a bunch, and he's now coming back to mid lane. Dodge left. Ooh. I think there was a world that you could have dodged that. You do get a nice kill. I think you will die, but that, you know, yeah, you're going to die, which is whatever. Warwick is pretty much only camping mid lane, and then he's doing two things. He's camping mid lane and then invading the enemy jungle. He's not really doing anything else. So I would just keep that in mind when you're playing. Because, yeah, that just seems to be their biggest strategy. I'd imagine, by the way, Warwick is potentially... I think he's on here. Yeah, he's on here because we can see the animation. I was like, he might be invading your blue. He is doing a Rift Herald. So top lane, it is worth knowing, is going really bad. Bot lane is also going really bad. So your team is not doing great. Rammus is doing fine. 102, 50 farm. But 0-3 Mundo, 20 farm down. 1-2 Cogmore, who keeps disconnecting, is also nearing 15 farm down. So this game overall is not looking too hot. So it'll be interesting to see how you can try to translate this to help your team win. So he's going to look for a bit of nice damage. Slightly advantageous trade for the Yone, but nothing major. And there we go. So Hexate Jinx has a question, would it be better to go Ninja Tabby this game, or Plated Steel Caps technically, instead of Sorks because of the enemy team's comp? It's a good question. So if you obviously look at the enemy team's comp, they are full AD. They don't really have any massive ounce of a nice damage. They don't really have any massive AP damage. So would Ninja Tabby be worth it? It's one of two things. It's better in one way, worse in another, obviously. Oh, nice ulti hit. Nice. I like the aggression. I like the decisiveness of you hit your ultimate, I'm going for it now. I like that. Obviously, you do have to be worried about Warwick. He's always been around mid lane. But I also like your decision to just base instantly. Because if you just decided to, like, right, I'm going to run to safety, that is giving Warwick arguably more time to run you down because that's his strength. Just basing is kind of like going, right, if Warwick's in the area, I'm probably dead. I'm just going to base and see if I can get out. And that was the right call. It was really good. So when it comes to the boot, I would say the answer is no. Because Vex is a champion that I will say she struggles actually with damage output if you don't really itemize the damage. Like, I've seen Vexes build Everfrost and stuff like that. They do no damage. She really struggles in terms of actual damage output if you don't build pure damage on champs. And some mages can get away with it more than others. Nice combo. He's going for quite an all-in play. The problem with the Yone is he goes for an all-in play. Nice kill. He went for an all-in play there when his E was, like, nearly fully used up, which is a bit bizarre. Again, obviously, we are in bronze at the moment, so we're not going to get perfect play. But that Yone would have been better off cancelling his E, then going back in with ulti, pretty much. And there's the Warwick mid lane looking for the kill. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Is this, on some mages, I think you can get away with it more than others. For example, Kassadin. I think in this game, if you're playing Kassadin, you could get away with building Ninja Tabby. Because his damage output is... It's linked to items, but it's also linked to being level 16. And weirdly, being in the middle of a fight, being tanky, is part of his strength. Vex, in modern day, she needs to do as much damage burst as she possibly can, so going Sorks is actually very effective. And yes, Twitch chat has also pointed out, I'm also personally confused. Well, nice Vex ulti, bam! Into the double Q combo, into a follow-up ulti, very nice, lovely, very nice, very nice. Not an enemy, both Yone and Warwick, the way that I would describe these players, they're playing like they're fed, and they're not fed, they're actually quite weak. Again, always adjust your play to what level of strength you are. Like, for example, Crowfoot, being 8-2, is playing aggressive and should continue playing aggressive. A 1-5 Yone, yes, it's still Yone, but he should kind of swallow the pride, swallow the ego, and go, right, I'm not strong now. I need to stop dying. I need to get to late game, pretty much, as a scaling champion. And if he keeps playing aggro, he's just going to continuously make the Vex stronger. So I would say that is kind of part of it. Hey, Davy Swee. So I like the aggression, obviously, from Crowfoot. It's good to see. And people have pointed out in Twitch chat, yeah, the Warwick going plated steel caps, I would agree, is bizarre. Considering, one, the CC level on blue team is very high. So, like, Taunt, Vexosphere, Maokai CC. It's actually very high amounts of CC. So Merc Shreds would be great in that situation. And also, obviously, not even just the CC level, the actual magic damage is also really high as well. So the enemy team, again, like I've said a few times already, they are not, and they do get one kill, but they are not playing like they should, realistically. They are playing like they are really fed. So it did, in a way, work for them. They get one cheeky kill on Rammus. They might have even got a shutdown for that. They did. Oh, lucky. So, like, it's odd to see that they're playing so aggressive. I do like that Crowfoot was trying to match the roam. It was just unfortunately a bit too kind of late. But at least, you know, I'm not a massive fan of roaming, as people know, on a lot of mages, but I will not, like, in that type of situation when you're coming back from base or whatever like that, if there's a big play happening bot lane, I will just go bot lane and help. If I'm mid lane, it is a bit more of a decision of like, okay, do I go down there? Is it worth it? But yeah. All right, so Lucian missed his ulti. Ogmore isn't getting too many autos off. He might be dead. Ooh, very close. And then Crowfoot just still going, obviously, in on mid lane. I would still be careful of Warwick coming mid, because, again, it's been the most common thing this game. And hell, we haven't seen Warwick mid lane in a little while. He could actually stop going mid lane because it hasn't gone well for them. So, again, the Yone, bad trade for him overall. He does not want to give up fighting. He is just, I'm going to fight always. And that is going to be, unfortunately, his downfall. Senor Sebs, tier 1 for 33 months, bobbling away. Thank you so much, my dude. Long-term subby. Nice to get a little plant use there. Good to see. And they kill bot lane tower. Very nice. Again, considering that the Cogmore has died a lot, he's actually recovered his lane phase a little bit, and they're doing some okay fights. Obviously, Cogmore is a very strong champion right now. His damage actual output is crazy. Yone is now roaming to top, and he let his mid die. What? So he's roamed to get the tower. Oh god. The Mundo's going to try and survive, isn't just. Yone then goes in, nice kill, and then potentially would have got a double kill there. That would have been that was nice aiming. But again, it's good that Crowfoot's looking to come over to the play. So again, another tick in my box. Build-wise, this is one of those examples that you are snowballing. So arguably, you could go more aggro in your build. You could go, obviously, Shadow Flame, and it will give you more damage output. But this is actually where I would agree with what Crowfoot's doing. Building Zhonya second. Purely because of the enemy comp. They are full AD. Zhonya's is so effective against the enemy comp in multiple ways. One, it's an armor AP item, which is great. But then also, if you think about it, it's quite a big counter to the enemy's engage. You can Zhonya's a Warwick ultimate. Like, if he's jumping for you in midair, you could press Zhonya's and it misses you. Same for Leona ult. Same for Yone ult. You can dodge these abilities with Zhonya's. So it's not even just the armor that's effective. It's also their major ways of getting it on top of you. You can counter with the item too. So this is, again, a very, I'd say, a rare example of a game that you're snowballing like mad. Normally you wouldn't want to go a defensive item second because you're snowballing, but this is actually a game that I would agree about it. I think it's actually a good idea. So Warwick is just going to fight the Rammus, and then he gets himself a get caught. Warwick is nearly like dead, obviously, because of the Rammus, but yeah, the Rammus unfortunately does it a bit too much. He's 4 against 1. Yone gets himself a kill. For how I would say bad the Yone has played, the fact that he's got 4 kills is a little bit worrying. Hey, Bomb Disarmor, 33 months of Prime. Appreciate it massively, my dude. So again, using his E quite early. I'd like the Fear to go off. Oh, God. Yeah, the enemy team is now kind of just grouping, and your team is being quite individual. So naturally, it's going to struggle. Or your team is going to struggle if you are all individuals against 4 or 3 enemies. They do get a kill on Aatrox, though, with the help of Maokai. That's where Maokai was this whole time. But yeah, hey, Solid Swede. We are watching a viewer at the moment. Solid Swede is asking about my climb individually. I don't want to give it away too much because this video is probably going to come out before a few of my solo rank games. But all I will say is the main account is doing pretty good. We've having some very good games on the main account recently. So, yeah. All right, presume Zhonya purchase is happening, maybe? Or just, yeah, Zonya's purchase, very nice. So now that Zonya's is finished, what I'd like to see from Crowfoot moving forward is... I will say the only thing about Crowfoot's play so far, and this is something that I would know, is I would say Crowfoot has mainly been reactive instead of proactive. So what do I mean by that? You've seen Yone and stuff go bot lane. You're reacting to that. You've never really been the first one there. You've been the second one there. Now that you're 9-2, you've got Zhonya's, which is a defensive item. I'd like to see you become proactive. So instead of Yone getting to a play first, I'd actually like to see you getting to a play first. That's a big element of how to use your lead across the map. And again, even here, like, yeah, I'd go for this play. Nice hit, really good aim, really nice hit. I'd continue looking. I'd go for the Yone, ooh, not the best ulti. I would have waited for the taunt, and then that would have been nearly a guarantee. Yone using his ultimate to get away. Obviously, Aatrox's fighting. Now you're in the area. Big damage coming through. This is what I want to see. Obviously, do as much as you can. They're going to focus you. Very nice. So that's good to see. I don't know why the flash obviously happened here. I'm guessing you just wanted to get to the fight a bit earlier. But it, you know, it worked out-ish. Warwick just waiting in the bush. This Warwick is an odd player. So you're probably going to die, I'd imagine now. You do 1,000 gold bounty for Warwick. Yes, I'll be honest, I wasn't even expecting Warwick just be waiting in the bush. It is a bit peculiar. Rammus could fight him if he wanted, and looks like they are going to go for it. Warwick should be dead here. And he's flashed, and he's probably going to die. Yeah, so that's good. So overall, not bad. But yeah, going on to the point that I was going to say, the whole proactive, reactive thing is definitely something I think more League players should be aware of, and it's probably a big area that players can improve on, is when you are fed, when you are the fed player on your team, you are practically the only fed player. Rammus is strong, but he's not fed. And obviously, it is good that the enemy team's full AD and you've got a Rammus. That's a very effective pick. But when you are strong and when you are fed and you are playing a carry champion, it is basically your duty to carry, right? It's your game to carry. And if you be reactive continuously, you're not going to have the most carry presence in the game. And that is the whole ethos about being reactive versus proactive. So I want to see, like here, Maokai, what did Maokai just do there? That Maokai just did a proactive play. He's just like, right, I'm going in. That is him deciding on something basically out of nowhere, and it worked really well. And obviously what has happened, and it's not a negative in this instance because the fight's gone amazingly well, but then you have reacted to the Maokai's play. You just aced them with 3 players. You reacted to your Maokai. So again, reactive play style. The only little thing that I would say, you're having a great game, and this is just something that you can carry through in future games, is so far I've mainly seen you be reactive to what other players are doing, whether it be your team's engaging or, oh, Yone's gone bot lane, I'll go bot lane. I just want to see a little bit more proactive in terms of like, I'm going in now. And then your team then follows you. And the whole idea with Vex, especially with Zhonya's, is such a great combo because if your team are nearby, it means you can go in, make the proactive play, and then if the enemy team, if you know you don't one-shot whoever you hit, you can then Zhonya's, and after your fear and Zhonya's, then your team is on top of you and helping, but you're the one that decided we're making this play happen. And with how fed you are, you can easily get away with that, because if you, let's say, hit the Lucian or even the Yone with your ult, they are just simply going to die. So that's the point. So that's the only thing that I would say so far that I would majorly say needs any improvement. And that's the point. You're really fed. You're 14-3, but there's always something to improve on. In every league game, even the best players in the world can improve on things. And if my biggest advice so far to you this game is just being a bit more proactive, it's not a bad thing. You're doing very fed. You're playing really well when it comes to reacting to things. You know, you're not just AFK mid lane. The only thing that I'd say you've not reacted to well so far this game is when Dragon was being done and you didn't move over. But the thing is, the Yone didn't react as well. So I'm guessing you just locked into that 1v1, both of you, and you just didn't know what, you know, you didn't really think to help. Which again isn't the worst situation. Nice, get the ultimate when that's happening. Very good, very good. Oh, very close. So Crewfoot said the concern with doing that is the R takes a long time. So you might be, you know, if you are and then you're in the middle of the enemy team, it might take too long for your enemy to get there. I kind of get that. But I would say the only thing with that, I don't know why he used the only thing to that is I think you're underappreciating how fed you are in this game. You are 3 complete items when the most on the enemy team is 2. You're a whole item ahead. You are so strong right now that I think because of how strong you are, you really can just go for an insane engage, and the enemy team is going to struggle with that. You could probably kill, like, even if like your team don't back you up quick enough with Fears and Zhonya's timing, you'll probably end up killing at least 2 people, maybe even 3 if you hit your ultis consistently before anything bad truly happens. You are really fed. You need to use that fedness, you know? Mundo gives no cares. So remember, this Mundo was getting destroyed earlier, and he's now ended up semi-strong. You've decided to go push top lane with Maokai. And now I'd be worried, maybe is the wrong word, because again, you're so fed. The enemy team, I was going to say, like, they're going to look for an engage, and that's my point. Look how strong you are. You just annihilated them. They have no chance whatsoever. So when you're this fed, just make the engages, just make the plays, go in on the enemy team. If the slower you react, when you're playing what I would say is quite an aggressive, engaging champion like VEX, when you're this fed, you just bought a death cap out of, okay, that's a big item. When you're this fed, the more pressure you pile on the enemy team, the less you're giving them chance to recover. Because you're that fed, you can just annihilate them. If you play this game methodical and slow, you're actually giving them more time. This is the type of game you don't want to give the enemy team an inch of time, an inch of space to recover. And if you're this fed, you just constantly go in, constantly bombard them, and they basically won't be able to cope. So that's what I would say. It's champion specific, but VEX is the type of champion that you should, when you get this fed, you just go aggro, like literally constantly aggro. And I would say the same goes for champs like LeBlanc, is quite similar. You just need to kind of push them to their limit, and you're so fed you can get away with it, is what I would say. And that's the only major thing. So I'd say, and they've just surrendered. So really good game. My only big thing would be, again, be more proactive instead of reactive. In this specific game, this could be an exception. Maybe in other games you're more proactive, but in this specific game, and it's not a criticism as such, because you're 18-3, you did incredibly well, but I think you reacted incredibly well this game. I think there were spaces of you could have roamed potentially even before a Yone or anything like that, and I think it would have gone really well. It's not a bad thing, you know, this game went near perfectly for you. So take it with a pinch of salt. I'm just saying, for, you know, if you're not in a game, you get 18 kills, let's say on realistic terms, in average game, you might have had 7 or 8 kills this game. Then being more proactive, I think, would have helped. But you were so fed this game that even if you turned up to a fight slightly late, it didn't matter, because you just annihilated them by that point. But anyway, that is going to be it. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned a little bit here or there, Crowfoot. But if you guys enjoyed, obviously, we're in a bronze 2 game. I like doing viewer spectates because they're the more, like, you know, the ratings that the viewers are what are. You guys get to watch that rating bracket that you might be in yourself. Where obviously in my main account, being in Diamond 1, it's not that relatable sometimes. But anyway, that's gonna be it. If you guys did enjoy, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime.